Hi, I'm Lisa. Welcome to my glass studio. I love pumpkins. I love the season. I love the color. I love the energy it adds to my home. So I want to show you how to make this adorable, very fast and easy pumpkin. I start out with kind of a marigold yellow orange, which you would think you would start out orange, but no, marigold. And then I add orange red frit on top to create a design, and then I capped it with glass that has yellow stringers in it. Then we added a little green here for the the top, the stem of the pumpkin, to give it a little more color. But what makes this piece so fun and exciting is the organic shape. There's only let's see, like 4 pieces of glass. How much simpler can you get? We use stencils and frit to create the design, make it a little warmer, a little more interesting. And I just love the organic shape. That really, I think down here, really adds to the graceful feature here. And it's a terrific bowl to put in your kitchen. To put some fruit in, or some apples, or cornucopia kind of things you might want to put in there. But anyway, a lot of fun. Let me show you how to make this. Here's a first look at the finished piece, so you can get an idea of the wonderful detail that we're going to create with frit. We're going to start by cutting the base layer out of this orange glass. Now, if you don't have orange, you could use a marigold, a yellow, a deep orange, or this medium orange. I do like the opal color though, because it shows really nicely on whatever surface you put this on. Because a lot of times our surfaces, countertops, shelving, or tables are dark in color, dark in nature. So this color shows up really nicely. Get a lot of impact from this piece of art when it's finished. I traced it around the pattern with a Sharpie. Now I'm going to take my handheld cutter. I'm going to cut as close to that line as possible. And with a series of relatively straight cuts, I'm going to make these more intricate curves. So I don't go into those deep areas right away. I kind of hit the high spots. Then I go back in with my cutter, do those deeper curves, and then I'll go in and maybe, depending upon how significant that inside curve is, I might do more than one score there to ensure that I'm successful with making that shape. Now I'm going to go back in and go along that pencil line, or that marker line there. I'm going to do a couple extra score lines because that relieves stress, and you have a greater tendency, greater likelihood, greater success getting those deeper curves out if you do them in stages and in steps. The trick to a good score is consistent pressure. When you're working on something relatively large like this with these undulating perimeter shape, it can be a little difficult to get consistent pressure. So really work on that. When you're holding your cutter, use your hand, your wrist, your arm, your elbow, and your shoulder, all to apply consistent pressure. Now I'm going to take my running pliers, just gently squeeze along that score line and ease the glass off. You don't want to rush it. If it doesn't come off right away, turn the glass around and squeeze the other side with the runners, so you're kind of meeting in the middle. That score line starts to run on the first end, but it doesn't go all the way because of the curvature. So when you apply pressure on the opposite end, the two scores meet in the middle, and then you have greater success getting those pieces out. Now, wherever I can use the running pliers, I prefer those because I have more consistent breakage or removal with those than I would with the grozers. But if the glass is being stubborn, by all means, grab those grozers and use those too, or instead of the runners. The really cool thing about this piece is there's only 3 pieces of glass, and you get a really fun, detailed piece of art. It has to do with the dynamic color, the dynamic shape, and the materials that we're using to create this. So keep in mind, something doesn't have to have a ton of pieces or be really elaborate to be really fun and give you a great impact. Here in these tight areas, I'm using my grozing pliers to pull out those small pieces. And in this area, I did do several score lines to ensure that I had greater success and I could get that curvature. Now I'm going to use the grozers to kind of clean up that edge to minimize the amount of time I have to spend at the grinder. I always make sure my glass is clean and dry before I assemble the project, so I'm definitely going to wipe the Sharpie off before I assemble this piece. Next, I'm going to cut the second layer out of this Mardi Gras sheet. This is dynamic glass that combines stringer and frit. It's hand cast into the sheet glass, and it's really effective on this design because it's a subtle application, subtle introduction of this yellow and this linear quality that lends itself nicely to what you would expect to see, the pattern and shape and detail you would expect to see on a pumpkin. So it takes this orange circle from being just a round piece and gives it something, a little something extra that makes it really awesome. This glass has a little more texture on one side than the other, so I try to cut on the smoothest side possible so my cutter has good contact with the glass when I'm running my score lines. So now I'm going to take my running pliers and remove that excess glass just like I did on the orange piece. So we ran a nice score line all the way around, take our runners, remove the bigger pieces of material, kind of just ease those off, turning that around from the other direction to make sure that we're successful here. There we go. And we'll go back in with the runners, take off the material on the sides, work our way around until we get something that looks very similar to our original pattern. This glass is really fun to work with because it adds a lot of visual interaction to the art without having to add a whole bunch of pieces. Now, if you didn't have access to this type of material, you could easily make your own. Just take yellow stringers and yellow frit, kind of lay the stringers out in a pattern, a vertical pattern, and you could create your own material that's similar to this, but unique, even more your own and personalized. Now we're going to cut out the top of the pumpkin, this small piece of green, and this just adds a little bit of detail, a little bit of color, and purpose to the orange shape, which is, it's definitely a pumpkin, but the green really helps reinforce that subject matter and really helps to make it beautiful and a little more legible that, what it is we're making. It's not just a basketball. This is definitely a pumpkin. So I detailed that as best I can by hand, and we'll definitely take these pieces to the grinder to improve the edge quality and take off any bumps. Now I'm going to lay out the different levels and make sure that the pieces are cut accurately and they fit nicely. So we have the orange on the bottom, the yellow stringer on top of that, and then the green stem on top of that. Now I've disassembled the piece, and here I have red powder frit. Now you could either use red or orange. The nice thing about the red is it gives you a little bit stronger color. And I'm going to use this nice 2-inch wide sifter and sift a nice hefty amount of this red around the perimeter of the pumpkin. This gives it kind of shading and visually contains the project. Now I'm going to take the sifter and I'm going to run some lines kind of up from the bottom to the top of the pumpkin shape to create those variations within the texture of a pumpkin that you would expect to see. Powder frit is a lot lighter when it's in the jar than it is after it's fired. So if you're not sure how strong this color is, go look at the sheet glass and that'll show you how much color you can expect to get from the powder frit. Because at this point, you look at this and you think, oh gosh, that's pretty, but is it going to show up? Are we really is it worth the effort to add this material? Are we really going to get a visual here? And I can tell you from experience that yes, we are. So using powder frit is really exciting and fun, but it takes a little while to get the hang of it and know how to work with it. And here's the piece before it goes in the kiln, and that coloration is showing up a little better here because we have a little bit better lighting on this image. And then here it is after it's been fired. Look at the linear yellow pieces in that top glass really add to it. The striations we created with the frit are really adding a lot of nice detail. And I just love the perimeter detail. That just really helps visually contain this piece of art in such a beautiful way. So we have some contrast, just enough to bring this piece to life. I just love this technique and how it really adds so much to your art. Now this pattern and a bunch of others are available for free on my website. Wow, isn't that cool, right? Fast, fun, and easy, festive. You don't get better than that. So I hope you enjoyed learning how to make this piece. Hope you make one for yourself. This is a 10-inch, approximately 10-inch circle. You can make it any size you want. You can make it 9-inch, 8-inch, 6-inch, 5-inch, and still have this beautiful, rich piece of art to display in your house. Goes great on the countertop flat, goes great in a stand, however you want to use it. Just go ahead, goes great in a bathroom. You want a little bit of color, a little pinch of color, a little seasonal excitement to those restrooms, to the little table by the front door, the coffee table, maybe in the kitchen, you put a candle in it or something. A lot of opportunity for display options for this piece. So I hope you enjoyed learning how to make it. Please follow, subscribe, like, and comment on my YouTube channel. If you subscribe, you'll know as soon as my new and exciting videos come out. If you like and follow and comment, we get stats on that every week, and it makes us so excited to know that you're sharing, you're commenting, that you are intrigued and engaged with our videos, because we're certainly engaged with making them for you. Become a premium video member. We would love to have you. We have new content coming out all the time, exclusive content just for members. Full-length videos with step-by-step instruction. They come with pattern ebook, printable, color images, material list, all of my hot tips for how to do these more creative pieces, more elaborate, more advanced pieces that brings it down to a level, to a scope, to a technique and method that's so manageable. You will find yourself excited about these pieces and able to do much more advanced pieces than you thought you ever could. So become a premium video member. We'd love to have you. And until next time, happy fusing.